think it's my karma today. Technology has not been my friend. Oh,
Do you guys see?
wonderful.
Yeah, we got it.
Beautiful.
We got it.
Perfect.
Okay, go for it.
I'm glad. Hi, you guys. My name is Rana Hyatt. I'm the founder and CEO of Solis. And I want to take some time to actually tell you guys a bit more about myself. I'm a Calgary born and bred Canadian. My parents grew up, I grew up with parents that owned and operated hair salons throughout Calgary. And as anyone that, grew up in the family business, we all had one thing in common. You had a summer job every summer, probably for the rest of your life. And I took that time to really grow my very, passion in the bridal hair and makeup industry. It was a niche a decade ago that was really underserviced. And I really wanted to grow in, so I grew it into an international freelance artistry program. One thing when I was doing hair and makeup was we all had the same problem, and that was sanitation and purchasing duplicate makeup applicators, using a lot of harsh chemicals and disposable applicators that we would just literally have garbage bags full of things. It was incredibly expensive. So as our business grew, the more money we made, the more problems we had. We really contributed to the high risk of infection that we saw globally throughout the pandemic, the impact it had on the beauty salon space. It was not sustainable for us. And at post-pandemic, we experienced the rise in pricing of being sanitary. We have an industry where, although we were regulated provincially and federally by our Health Canada, we weren't meeting up to snuff. If I told you when the last time, sanitation was actually invented in our space, I would tell you that it was 1964. A very long time for us to actually tackle the issues that we have, because we are one of the few industries that touch our clients directly skin to skin. So it impacted not only our beauty salon spaces, our favorite salons, med spas, lash bars, our hair schools, our makeup schools, but also our favorite fashion shows. So we have one case study here. This is very common for the space where all the fabulous, Victoria's Secret model fashion shows or runway shows that we see 3 times a year, there is not a single time that there hasn't been an incident of someone contracting viral or bacterial or fungal infections directly. So our favorite models actually experience the pain on the back end there. Another use case which we saw was just as the pandemic was starting, we saw MAC Cosmetics, our favorite industry leader, actually get sued for $20 million because a artist in the cosmetic retail space gave a client a viral infection, and that resulted in her losing some vision in her eyes. So we decided we wanted to really solve this problem. How do we bring hospital-grade sanitation into the cosmetic retail space and really lead with a sustainability initiative here? Solis is the first of its kind. We are a hospital-grade sanitizer on the path for Health Canada FDA certification. We are research-driven. We were really proud that in the last summer, we actually secured and validated our technology. So we're using provisional patented UVC technology that's not only able to sanitize the tool, we wanted to go one step further and really build into this technologically advanced piece, which is a UVC bacterial, viral, and fungal pathogens. We all know that viral infections are treatable, not curable, specifically when it comes to cold sores and viral pink eye. So we wanted to not only do that, but also remove the products for our consumers. So every professional makeup artist wants to move between color to color, and we wanted you to do that safely. We fit up to 12 brushes, which is the average size of the average number of brushes that you would technically use. I'm holding Solis here, so all you typically have to do is just open the unit, place your brushes inside there as you're working with your client. And then once that client is done, you're ready to set up your next customer. You just close it, press the button, and then in 60 seconds, it's actually fully sanitized for you, ready for your next client, as opposed to traditional ways where we would have to get 12 sets of 12 if we have 12 clients for that day, which can be incredibly expensive. It can cost us, an entry-level artist up to $3,000 just to enter the industry. So our software piece component, we really wanted to support the health and hygiene of our customers and really build that customer loyalty between the professional and that consumer. So we knew that the consumer behavior post-COVID really changed, and now consumers are more apt at, wanting to know the sanitation of the space that they're entering and really wanting full transparency in what sort of products are interacting with their skin. We know that this is on the rise. We're experiencing even more, things like adult acne and more fungal infections that we haven't seen in the past, but we're really starting to see now, and it's becoming a global issue. So we wanted Solis to alert you of any harmful microbes and adverse product ingredient interactions to really support those skin goals for our consumers. And we wanted you to shop better. So we wanted hygiene to not only, clean cosmetics to not only represent starting with your clean tools, but really move into your consumption. So businesses are able to shop a lot smarter and reduce their overhead costs. So like I said, Solis is the only research-driven hospital-grade sanitation on the path to becoming Health Canada and FDA certification. And we're really working towards our EU regulatory certification as well. A little bit about our past. In the last 15 months, we've done a really great job of our team building that MVP. Lab testing here in Calgary, we have a 500 pre-sale revenue, and our software, which is something that we really are confident about, is just building the product ingredient and microbial AI training library. We're on the path for Health Canada certification. Another really exciting thing is that we have been watched closely by Holt Renfrew and L'Oreal's AI team. And we're being introduced in October in the next month, actually, to showcase our technology and advancement there. We want to implement our pieces of our technology and licensing and hopefully partner with the beauty industry leaders. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of our 18-month path to market. Because I grew up in this space, we know throughout North America, our beauty suppliers and salons really, really well. We have really strong relationships with them. So that easy entry for us with Cosmoprof Beauty, Modern Beauty, Sally's Beauty, and Ulta, and all the small business Canadian salons throughout Canada, we can, in 18 months, secure $488 million. Now, naturally, we want to support the cosmetic retailers because we know that 80% of consumers are more likely to buy if they try. So on the back end, we want our Sephora's, our Ulta's, and Nordstrom, Saks, and all those fun retailers that we like to try. We want them to be able to have that consumer try, support them, and do so safely without having a customer come back and say they got an eye infection. Naturally, without doing anything, because professional artists, they are the trendsetters, will naturally move into the luxury clientele market. So we know to capture, we're not really specifically focused on the luxury consumer market in the next 18 months, but we know that through the professional relationships that we're building and our brand awareness that we will move into the luxury makeup clientele. So I wanted to give you a clear breakdown of the hardware revenue model. So for professional artists throughout Canada and the US, there are 986,000 salons. On average, they have 4 professional artists throughout that space, and they spend a ton of money, and that amount actually increases year over year. So with Solis, at 4 units per salon, we have a $2 billion market capture. I'll do another breakdown in terms of the cosmetic retail space. So the number of retailers within Canada and US are 109, and then the annual sanitation expense is $6.7 billion. So their total savings with Solis, 12 units, because there typically are 12 brands within the cosmetic retail space. At $499 is $654 million USD. Here's a bit of our software breakdown. So the professional artists, an average number of artists per salon at 3.9 million, solo subscription at $9.99 a month, has a solo structure of like $38 million a month US. We know this market really well, so we know that from a global perspective, we're able to capture a large part of it, 4.2% on an annual increasing percent. So the global hardware revenue breakdown, this is for the makeup enthusiasts, which as we build that brand awareness and really grow our market share, we'll be able to enter the market at 5.5 billion USD. This is a 5-year projected revenue at 26.2 billion. The global software revenue breakdown as well, just to kind of give you an idea. Again, same subscription model, easily transitioned through the tier, is a $100 million monthly revenue with a $19.5 billion 5-year ARR. So overall, our hardware will be able to have in the next 5 years, have 26.2 billion, and annual sales of 19.5, and partnerships and licensing, like we discussed earlier, is that we're able to actually utilize our technology and implement it into L'Oreal's specific pieces of tech. So their skin analyzers and their product analyzers specific to their brands that they owned under their house, like Giorgio Armani or Maybelline, all those pieces will be able to implement Solis specifically for that model in order to train their product ingredient interactions. So we see that global agreement partnership at 7.6 billion. Our team, as we continue to iterate and actually gain that, real strong interest, myself, as you know, Fernando with his R&D and specialist scientist, our angel investor, Sana and serial salon owner, Jay Latta, which is an ex-BMW AI innovation specialist that we got to meet and really grow a partnership there. Dr. Chris Brown with the Senior Innovation Manager for the Life Science and Medical Sciences, serious experience in microbiology. Spenia, which is the Government of Alberta University of Applied Sciences, really growing and helping us expand and export our program, which we are securing of the Alberta Innovates digital traction and export expansion program. And as you know, every consumer cosmetic product needs a sales team, so we're growing that branding and marketing specialist. Our ask is 1 million USD, which is going to be focused on sales and marketing, customer acquisition. However, we just recently applied for the Life Science Fellowship and we're actually shortlisted for the $200,000 lab and manufacturing distribution. This actually will cut our manufacturing ask by 80%, which allows us to reposition in our $1 million ask into the sales and marketing, really like making that piece really incredibly robust and capturing that global market sale. So you'll see it here once we secure that Life Science Fellowship, and potentially the L'Oreal pilot project here happening in October. And I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to listen to me, and we're on to the appendices next.
Thank you so much, Rana. Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, let's dive right into feedback, questions, etc. Why don't we start with Maryam? You're first on my screen.
Okay, it's not obvious to me because I'm not familiar with the makeup industry. In the absence of your product, do salons have to go wash by hand, soap and water, the set of brushes in between every client? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
In between every client, usually what you'll see is Barberside. Everyone's seen Barberside, the blue solution. That's the only thing that typically sits on sanitation. Everything else is either a disposable applicator or it has to be hand washed. So you'll need duplicate tools of the same thing for every client that you have.
Okay, so I guess it's a trade-off between buying multiple sets versus taking the time, 10 minutes in between clients or whatever, however long it takes to do the cleaning.
The cleaning usually takes 24 hours. When you look at a bristle, I need my cleaning time. I'm looking at one brush. This brush needs 24 hours for it to dry.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't familiar with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I should let others go. So the one thing that the main question to me as an investor is what's in it for me? So you don't have to answer it here, obviously, but it didn't come out. I'll pass it on to others while I collect my thoughts.
No problem. How about Laurie? Why don't you jump in?
Okay, I'm very confused. I think you started off strong. I think I never appreciated there was a problem there, and I found it quite enlightening that there was. I mean, and it's obvious in hindsight, but not something I thought of. So that's really good. But then I got very confused. So you mentioned, rather than cleaning things, you put them in this thing to disinfect them. But if somebody's using a different colored makeup, doesn't it have to be cleaned anyways? You can't go from somebody using one color to another color by just disinfecting it, or am I missing something?
Yeah, in the problem side, when it came to the hardware, I'll show you here a bit. One of the pieces that we wanted to actually touch on was when we did our customer discovery, we noticed that our professional artists were like, okay, great, it's sanitized, but I need to go from like a light color to a dark color or a dark
Okay.
color to a light color. So we wanted to support that transition and not just have it be a sanitary tool, but also be able to remove the product easily. So Solis is able to warm up the actual bristle without damaging it, lift that product up, and so you just literally just need to wipe it clean.
Okay, now I understand, but that's very important, and I didn't. I guess if I looked at that closely enough, I would have got it, but I didn't get it. So I think you need to be a little bit clear in what it does. Other things that I found confusing is I can understand how if you're a professional doing this, you need this. If you're a consumer at home and it's only one person using it, is it as important? Because you talked about professionals and you talked about users, then use a term called makeup enthusiast. I have no idea if that's a professional or a home user who's enthusiastic. I have no idea. And it's not, I suspect the channels to marketing be very different for a home user and a professional user. And I have no idea what the ecosystem looks like for a professional. Do they go and buy from Shoppers Drug Mart, or do they buy from a beauty supply? I mean, I have no idea. So I have no idea what the ecosystem looks like and who people buy from and who you would sell to. And maybe it's because I'm a guy and I don't know anything about makeup, but from a business perspective, I didn't get it. I didn't get what the sort of whole ecosystem looked like. Like you talked about
Yeah,
Holt Renfrew and L'Oreal. Are those things that professionals use, or are those people that consumers use? Again,
that's a
I don't
great
know.
that's a great piece of feedback. So from from my from my expertise, what naturally happens, I don't know if you experienced the customer market of the Dyson Airwrap. It was made and designed for professionals to actually quickly, target that consumer so that we are able to establish really, really, professional finishing on our client's hair. What naturally happens is that consumer says, oh, well, I want to achieve professional grade hair in the same way that I would spend, my dollars here. So to them, that luxury market wants to achieve the very same thing that professionals are getting for them, and they will naturally just purchase the product. Now, the other piece that's really key here is that a lot of our customer discovery has been like, where do you put your brushes when you're applying makeup? And they're like, in the bathroom. Okay, so your favorite, most expensive product is living next to your toilet. And we all know toilet plume is a very real thing. And then you have the fluctuating humidity as you shower and then come out of the shower. So there's a huge risk of buildup of, microbial. And if you're someone that suffers from cold sores, your reoccurrence outbreak literally skyrockets. So we want you to achieve all those skin objectives from any age so that you can really enjoy your products and your tools. Like, why would you make your favorite dinner in the dirtiest dish? You wouldn't. So why would you actually apply that to your face?
You've added to my confusion. Is your
Oh,
initial
sorry.
target market the professionals, or is the home user? I mean, who are you going after first?
Our first target market, because we know them so well, is the beauty suppliers and salons. But that
Okay.
professional, because this product is being positioned in front of our client, they will naturally just inquire about how this product is actually being used for them, and then start to find this, natural, interest in it, and
So
will
I
want to buy
understand
it.
that completely, but what
Mhm.
you're saying, I believe, is you're going to go up to the professional market first, establish yourself as a professional tool, and then home users will want it because they want to act professional. That's different than going after a broader market and saying, because suspected professionals are not want to use something that's being sold in Shoppers Drug Mart. They want something that is seen to be more professional. So I think the path of going of the professional route and then going into the home market makes some sense. But to confuse you at the beginning, I suspect is going to cause you no end of grief. And the channels are very different. The marketing messages are going to be very different. And there's a whole bunch of things that are going to be different. And I don't think you can do everything at once. And then you confuse me even more about start talking about a software application, which again is sort of an orthogonal product that is again a different. And as a startup, the most important thing is focus. And I'm worried that you're trying to do too many things all at once. And having a plan to do multiple things is fine. Depends on how you get there and what your path is to get there. So I'm going on and on. I should let Suzanne get her word in edgewise.
Sorry, I was just going to say something about Shoppers Drug Mart for my clarity. Rana, I think you're proposing to sell to Shoppers Drug Mart so that when they have people coming in saying, hey, can I try this? Can I try that? They clean their brushes. Is that the Shoppers Drug Mart angle?
Yeah.
As opposed to they buy? Okay. Oh, got it.
Yeah, the cosmetic retailers are really supporting their back end. It's supporting that professional that's standing behind the counter, trying to get a customer to, safely try that product on and really adopt what their suggestion is. The software side is meant to track the microbial pathogens. There's an alert. It gives that user feedback, but not only that, but it actually, because that customer, you've now used this brush on a consumer, and now it's able to track sort of the unique microbiome points that is able to say, hey, every time that we apply this product to this specific customer, they have adverse reaction and you have less of a buy-in potential. So don't suggest this product, suggest a different one that's more suitable to them.
So that never came across in the presentation. That's really cool.
Thank you. That's our provisional patent there. Yeah, and I'm sorry, you guys, I got really nervous. I don't know what happened.
So Rana, well, congratulations on all the progress you're making so far. Doing really great. I could tell you're nervous, and I know that it's hard to think when you're nervous. So you are with friendlies here, and I think that confidence to not be nervous just comes with practice. So I think we've all been there in front of people, and so no worries. I have some comments that are along the lines of what Laurie was talking about. As a listener, there was, and this is kind of a standard comms thing, numbers are really critical to the pitch. And then when we're hearing too many numbers, it's very hard for the brain to follow and track where all those numbers are. So there might be a way of pulling them together. I think, and what's going on, some of the confusion, I think, is trying to think through multiple kind of different scenarios. So there's the software, and then there's the hardware of the product, but then there's all these different channels. And I really agree with Laurie. Whatever you decide to do, if you're going to say, listen, I want to start with the leaders, and this is a B2B, and I'm going to go to big B, B2B, and follow with consumer. Maybe the story of follow to consumer can just be later. Like if that happens or that doesn't happen, do you have a big enough market size to grow your company to be a venture potential business? So really, how do I simplify the story? It's really, as a founder, we want to share everything. It's really challenging to figure out that perspective of the investor and what they really need to hear, and how you take something that's complex to do, so it's not easily repeatable, and then make it sound dirt simple so I can just follow it. And it's not that investors aren't smart, it's really about respecting that cognitive load so they can come along with you and not have to think too much. And certainly if they're thinking, they're more thinking about the wonderful opportunity and less of the, once they hit, I'm confused, I don't understand, my brain will try to figure out what I don't understand. You kind of lose people. So how to simplify that. And I think that's just practice. I think you've got what you need to do that. And these sessions are really just for that. So my question in the forum really is, how was to clarify, and maybe you could do that for us right now. What is your vision with respect to B2B, or maybe your path to market in a very simple way? How do you compare B2B to B2C? What we see in investor meetings is when somebody's trying to do B2B and B2C at the same time, most people are out because it's too challenging and too much resources for you to execute both at the same time. You want not all of your money going on marketing for every channel. You want a really good return on investment to show that boom, boom, boom progress. And so for your own execution, that's sort of a little bit of the background to those comments. I hope
I
that's
think
really,
the other thing
yeah.
to add is that I think your major marketing message to the consumers is going to be, wow, this is something that all the professionals use.
Yeah.
If the professionals aren't using it yet, you can't use that marketing message. So it's really important to solidify that professional market so that you can use the success there as your marketing message for the consumer market. And as Suzanne said, when investors see somebody going after a B2B market and a B2C market simultaneously, we walk away. Like you can't do two things at once.
Yeah, it's great feedback. I think I was trying to take last week's advice into, how, we were going to make revenue. And I wanted to kind of show you guys all the cards, but really
One of the things you're going to learn over the next few weeks is you're going to get a whole bunch of different advice from different investors, and there's going to be a lot of conflicting messages.
Yeah, you're gonna have to throw a lot out.
So you have to figure out which ones you want to listen to and which ones you don't.
Yeah, I think that you guys really, yeah, that's great feedback. Because what I'm going to do is actually just show you this and show you hardware and software next time and just really keep the numbers clean. I wanted to completely demonstrate where we would be in the next 18 months and how we would utilize that revenue in order to project for a huge market share. But
can I ask, is this market or your revenue projections?
this is our market here.
Oh, this is market numbers. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I'm still getting myself used to that. So what I want to make clear in this is that we will be targeting the professionals first. And naturally, without doing very little, that luxury market retailer, those makeup enthusiasts, will just adopt with very little push on them.
Yeah, can I just say, as like me, I already the second you showed me this device, I'm like, I want to buy it. Like I would spend that money to buy it because washing my brushes is brutal, and I never end up doing it, and for all those reasons. So I will just say that, just so you know. Yeah, you already won me over. So
Well, I don't want to come across too negative either. I think the idea is wonderful, and I mean I think it sounds like an incredible solution to a real problem. So don't take my comments as being too negative. I'm just trying to be helpful.
No,
This
is
the other
very
thing
helpful.
that's not clear to me is what your channels to market look like. Like how many sales do you need to make? Is not presuming to 100,000 professionals. It's to some distributors, and I guess I don't really understand again, like how many distributors you need to bring on board. How many customers do they have? So again, what's sort of the layout of the industry? So I know.
So
if you have to make a phone call to every professional makeup artist, I don't believe you. If you have to sell to half a dozen or a dozen sort of distributors who have market, then I believe you. So I need to understand what the ecosystem looks like.
yeah, and maybe a little bit one thing that we see very often that's helpful to digest as the sort of the listener or the watcher is we see, and there's many different ways you can do this, but we see founders talk about their pipeline. It's basically like maybe a vertical box with a bunch of logos. You know what I mean? So everything that you do visually is simple for people to digest. So one box might be a bunch of logos. The next box might be a bunch of logos. And then I would actually not even talk about to consumer at all. I would just leave that for later. What do you think, Laurie? Is that?
I think putting it in as a step 2 is okay because it shows there is a potentially a much bigger market.
Okay.
But investors are always going to say, focus.
Yeah.
Don't try to do multiple things at once. And you're caught in a dilemma because if you focus too much, they're going to say you don't have a vision.
It's so
if
true.
all you talk about is the vision, you're going to say you're not focused enough. So it's really trying to find and And at the beginning, bias towards focus, and later on, you bias towards vision as you get bigger. But at the very beginning, you very much need to bias towards focus.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I mean, you're right, Suzanne. Really, our supplier will be just 4 distributors and they own the market. So Cosmoprof, Modern, Sally's, and Ulta are the key players to,
What you
suppliers.
just said there, to me, is the most exciting thing you said all afternoon.
Sorry.
And it wasn't in the pitch.
Because you know your path to market.
Yeah.
It's demonstrating.
Mhm.
And we see these, there's really subtle things in the pitches that really stand out. We had a company recently come and present, and she was talking about potential for acquisition. And she put all of the names of who could be acquirers, and she explained how she knew all of them. So
Mhm.
that other piece that really does go far with the investors is that you really understand all the parts of your market that you're touching. So you understand those key people, you understand the strategy. You talked about being invited. The AI folks from which company are following you?
L'Oreal.
L'Oreal. The
Mhm.
AI folks are watching you. I mean, I would be nervous about that. Why are they watching you? Is that a good thing or not a good thing? Or is it because they want to make a deal? So, but the fact that you are talking to them and they're interested, I think that's important. It's really and how you take all of the key information and shove it in. There's so many decisions to make, and ultimately it depends who you're talking to, and that's why you get so much different advice, because everybody makes decisions differently. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Maryam, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, the L'Oreal invitation was pretty interesting because we built the hardware and no one really likes to talk about the dirty side of the cosmetic space, but everyone needs to have it. So we want to do this like save money and also, be risk adverse, because we did a use case for Holt Renfrew, for example, and they revenue $2.1 million in cosmetic retail revenue. They spend $119,000 on sanitation, ineffective sanitation. And that's putting that sanitation requirement on the most junior staff member.
Right.
And so there's huge risk
now
there.
they can see, now they have eyes to the analytics of just how they're doing, as opposed to somebody's going to get sick or somebody didn't do their job or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we want to utilize that software piece in order to actually support that junior staff member to properly recommend that product ingredient suggestion and build that customer loyalty. So you're kind of bridging the gap of like all these options of cosmetic products. How do we do it and do it really smart?
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Really good.
Very enlightening. I had no idea. There was so much
Creative
risk.
solution. Super creative solution. Rana, let us know how those meetings go.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. So we're hoping to secure a pilot project with L'Oreal and actually implement that piece of Solis inside their existing brands.
That's very cool.
Very cool.
Makes so much sense.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry for
Thank
being
you.
nervous.
No, it's good. This is good.
Apologize for that. It's just energy. We're all human.
Yeah, and I'm saying the energy is off today because technology has been brutal. There's been lots of issues on my side. Every other week's running so smoothly. So I'm gonna blame that. You did great, Rana, and it's wonderful to see you evolve week over week. And that's why we have pitch practices. This is exactly why. So I love it. Okay, thank you all very much. Laurie, Suzanne, Maryam, your help, makes all the difference.
Nice
Yeah,
to see
thank you for
Maryam.
being here.
You too.
Laurie.
Thank you guys for your feedback.
Bye.
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 Cheers.